Our next game is Thursday at the Breslin Center against Michigan State. The Spartans are on a 4-game winning streak, but they're 0-2 in Big Ten play, and they're still looking for their first conference win. Michigan State was preseason ranked 4th in the country, but they lost their first game to James Madison in overtime. They lost their 3rd game of the season to Duke. Then they lost later to Arizona, Wisconsin, and Nebraska before recently beating number 6 Baylor by 24. It has been a weird season so far for Michigan State, but they've played a really tough schedule, and they still might be one of the best teams in college basketball. They like to play a slower pace. They like to pass the ball around. They have one of the highest assist ratios in the country. They also don't like to shoot a ton of threes despite shooting a decent percentage. This is just a really solid all-around team, and trying to beat Tom Izzo on the road is never an easy task. I think Penn State has looked a lot better since the Maryland game. You have that win against Ohio State, but I think things in general have looked a lot better for this team. So I think going into this Michigan State game, you got a chance. I mean, since that tough loss to Maryland in overtime, you've beaten Ohio State, you should have beaten Georgia Tech, and you dominated Lemoyne and Rider. This is a team that's just playing a lot higher quality basketball than they were earlier in the season. You get some players back to injury. I think that should only propel this team even more. I can't predict us to beat Michigan State right now, but a win against them in East Lansing would be huge, and I think this team is capable of it, even though I don't think it would happen 100% of the time. My prediction, Penn State 70-75 for Michigan State. I think it'll still be a close game. I think it'll be kind of a defensive battle. Both teams trying to slow things down. But I think if Jameel Brown or Ace Baldwin or Kanye Clary can get hot, and we can get somebody that gets a hot hand and score some points for this team, I think we could pull off the upset here. Then on Sunday, we have a home game. It is not in the BJC. It's in the Palestra in Philadelphia against Michigan. This team is very different than Michigan State because the Wolverines, they shoot a ton of threes, and they're good at it. However, while we aren't super good at shooting threes, our opponents are either. Penn State opponents are shooting a measly 29% from deep, which is 31st in the country defensively. Also, if you look at the points scored in the paint, Michigan is by far lowest in the Big Ten. And if you look at us, I'm actually surprised to see how low we are on points scored in the paint because of how successful we are at scoring when we get the ball inside the paint. If you look at it, our field goal percentage nearly doubles when we get a paint touch on a possession right now. So that's a really important part of our offense. This game is strength versus strength, offense versus defense, shooting threes versus grinding down low. Should be a really exciting clashing personalities of teams. Penn State, Michigan, I'm predicting 76-70 win for the Nittany Lions. Should be a really fun game, and hopefully this team can get the dub.